Yo, we just people from the north side. Once and Timmy's at the shore fine. Winter ready on the four ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your host, your boy George McKay, back again. And I'm sitting down with a returning guest. I haven't had him on the show for about 18 months. The one and only Jack Cartwheel. It is a long time. How are you, brother?
How you doing? Great.
I'm good. Good. So first thing I got to ask is, I saw this video the other day on your Instagram where you're working on this like cartwheel elbow drop.
Yeah.
How is that progressing? How is the cartwheel elbow drop progressing? And is that what we're going to go with? Or have we thought of something like cool, like the killer cartwheel or something like, I don't know.
No, right. Totally. It's such a big process. And for the longest time, I've used the black arrow, red arrow, jack arrow as the finisher because that's the coolest thing that I can do. I know I would love to really manufacture a better finisher like that backwards cartwheel elbow. So I mean, I've done it where the way that video was shown, where I'm facing outwards, going backwards, doing a quarter twist into the elbow, and it only kind of hits sometimes. So then I tried to do the same thing but with the senton at the end. Then maybe try to do it the same thing but starting with the quarter turn. So you start with one foot on the front turnbuckle, the second foot on the back one, and try just do a cartwheel that way. But the thing that kills me is like none of them are cooler than the red arrow. You know, it may like get a nice pop and it may be like, oh, it's cartwheel, so it does a finisher with the cartwheel. But if I'm trying to like make new fans and get new bookings and travel the world a lot more, people want to see the crazy thing. So I'm still workshopping a real legit cartwheel finish.
I can't wait to see when something comes up because I've watched you so many times here at Demand Lucha, and I've watched you on ROH, and I followed your career for a long time, as you know, and I just the progression is unreal, and it's almost like the word prodigy doesn't exist anymore in pro wrestling because everybody is so young and everyone is so talented to the point where, like, I look at the future of pro wrestling in the next 5 years. You got Roxanne Perez, you got yourself, you got Cora Jade, you got Gringo Loco still making moves, you got all these up and comers.
Yeah.
You got, and I look at every bit of wrestling, every big promotion that's out there, they all have their little, I don't want to say minor league players, but they all have their future draft picks that are going to just be fucking electric. It was almost like in 2014 where we had the emergence of the Shield, of the Roman Reigns and everything in the world. And now we're getting into that second phase where the up-and-comers are so ridiculous. To be mentioned, and I name-dropped a few, but I couldn't think of everything on the fly. I'm older. I'm getting tired. Okay. But I couldn't think of, but to be name-dropped in the next up-and-coming crop, how does that feel for you?
Oh, I mean, it feels great. It's freaking great, right? Don't get me wrong. It's amazing. But like, I mean, coming into pro wrestling, that should be the goal. That should be the thing. It shouldn't be like, this is my wish, it's my dream, it's this thing that isn't attainable. It's like, no, like if you're in wrestling to try to do this as a wrestling thing, like name drop that name, you know what I mean? Like it's great to finally be at that spot, but it's a chip on my shoulder because of course I'm in those spots, but I'm not in those spots. I'm here at Demand Lucha, which is freaking amazing, but I would rather be at the CN Tower shows. I forgot the name of the stadium, but it's really cool that I'm getting there, that I'm getting closer, and it's a great thing, and I'm glad it's happening. But it's no surprise. This is what I'm working towards. This is what I'm trying to get to. So it's really dope to be here, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I look at your toolbox and the progression of you as an in-ring performer, but I also look at promos, and I want to talk about the last Demand Lucha show where we had an untimely turn of events. Lince Dorado, that jerk. He, left you in a rather uncompromising position, a bad way. But the promo you cut beforehand, I felt was very heartfelt. I felt it was the most honest I had seen you on the mic since I had started following you.
Right.
Do you feel like you're check marking all the boxes now? I mean, your in-ring work is impeccable. Your promo work is definitely improved leaps and bounds. But do you feel that Jack Cartwheel right now is the best version that he can be? Or you're always your worst critic, so there's always room to go. But right now, how do you feel at this stage in your career in terms of the whole package, the total package?
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. That really means a lot. And I have been trying to get better at the promos and everything within what makes Jack Cartwheel Jack Cartwheel. And I think it's being able to have an answer for when somebody has the question of who are you, where are you from, and that's something that I wasn't sure about for the longest time. And then since like that last promo in the last couple months, I feel like I've really honed in on who Jack Cartwheel is as a character and what characteristics he has. And I think I'm really close. I mean, there's always stuff that you can improve on, but when I look at a drop-off in talent between me and most signed guys, I don't see a big one. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, I absolutely agree. I don't see a big one as well. Now, talking about ROH appearances and stuff like that, some of that stuff has been so much fun to watch you on TV, to watch you on a bigger stage. ROH product is great, but much like NXT, it is just that. It is the undercard to the big event. Have you had any conversations to see if we're going to see an AEW promotion, or have we talked, have there been feelers put out in other avenues of pro wrestling where we might see Jack Cartwheel on a more consistent basis?
Yeah, there's been a lot of feelers. There's been a lot of feelers, and I have a lot of opportunities in the next like 6 months to be backstage at some of these big promotions again. But right now, it's mostly feelers, you know.
Okay, listen, feelers are fine, because at the end of the day, it's almost like me with the podcast. 8 years I've been doing this. Now it's easy. You and I have a relationship. We remember one another. So I could say, hey, Jack, you got time for me? Absolutely. Let's sit down and do this. Whereas before, I'd be like, hi, I'm George from Straight Talk Wrestling. You may have seen, yada, yada, yada. Then you have to start listing your credentials. So it gets easier as time goes out. But there's nothing wrong with feelers, because those feelers won't last too long. Those feelers will go into a signed contract. I know it in my heart. Now, it's just where you land is intriguing, because you look at the different rosters, and I think Jack Cartwheel could be excellent in the X division, but I also think Jack Cartwheel could do some damage in the North American division in NXT. And then I think, Jack Cartwheel could do some real fucking damage in the trios division in AEW. But then, of course, there's Mexico and AAA, CMLL. The world is your oyster, and at such a young age, when the world is your oyster and you have an ability to take these different paths, I feel like there's no fork in the road for you. I feel like everywhere you go is a learning experience. Are we on the same vibe with that?
Totally. That makes, it's that there's so many different avenues to go and so many things, and that's almost like the hardest part. That's almost the hardest thing of like, oh, if I do this show here, does that even translate to anything that I'm trying to get towards, you know? It's like I forgot the one. There's some story about like a farmer who like is told to count things all day, and he does it super fine, but then he's told to decipher between one thing or the other, and it takes him all day to do like one or two things, because when you have to make those decisions and choose, that's when it gets hard. So yeah, I don't know. It's there's a lot of ways to go, and it's hard to go forward with a very consistent goal and consistent idea, because you never know what's going to happen in the future.
I love that. I think that's such a young age. The answers that you're giving are phenomenal. Now, the last time you were here,
I messed up really bad on the news in LA one time.
Oh, we got to start with breaking story right now. We might get into some serious emotional damage. I have to hear about this. Please talk to me about LA and the news and everything that happened.
I want to find my phone. I could show it to you later, but basically we're doing a very adult show called Lucha Vavoom, and I was on KCRA LA like promoting the show. And the guy just wasn't going over that it's an adult show. He just wasn't saying it too much. So and on the show, there's a guy whose name is Dirty Sanchez. That's his name. I got it. So out of nowhere, non-prompted, I just grabbed the mic and say Dirty Sanchez. It was terrible. I was bad. Yeah, that was bad. I'll show you the video.
Yeah, absolutely. You show it to me, send it to me, so I can actually put that in this podcast, please. Now, I got to meet your mom, who is an absolute sweetheart. One of the last shows you came, you brought your mom with you. She was an absolute sweetheart. And I see that the apple is not far from the tree in terms of the sweetheartness. When you get to travel on the road, when you get to bring Mama Cartwheel with you, it's always got to be probably an entertaining specter, but also to see you shine. In these big stages, but also from a mom perspective, I can imagine the car rides home. Jack, that was a great match, honey, but really, did you have to go 15 feet in the air? Did you have to go that high? I can imagine that mom is such a fan, but also she still got that. She's like, oh my God, my baby boy. She doesn't want to, anything bad to happen. Am I right when I say that?
Yeah. No, she's so supportive. It's always great when she's able to come out, and there's so many people in this industry who don't have supportive parents, right? We talked about the young people earlier who are getting opportunities and getting better, and I've been so grateful to have like really supportive parents who have came with me on these trips or just even supporting going to training or asking how stuff was and being okay with me being 24 and still living with them. It's very grateful for them to be so supportive. And they're nervous sometimes, but my dad is a world record holding powerlifter. He knows what it means to like really train and go. My mom's a little bit softer with it, like, oh, do you have to go do that show? Can you just like, do you have to keep moving around every week? And so just having even just knowing that she cares about that is enough. Yeah.
I like that. Now I gotta ask this because as we saw this past Olympics, we had breakdancing in the Olympics. Very exciting. Yeah. I mean, other than Australia, but we don't talk about Australia. Sorry, no offense, Australia, but she shit the bed. That's all I'm going to say on that. Now, I don't look like a man who's ever breakdanced in his life. Back in the day when I was younger and a little bit more flexible, I used to be able to do the coffee grinder. Now I can't do any of that. The coffee grinder is cool, but I don't have the leg span for that anymore. Also have this, relative gut in front of me here. But there has been rumors or even discussions, or I've read on some of the dirt sheets, the internet, it's all lies, but I think this is a fun question. Pro wrestling in the Olympics. There's a possibility that this could actually happen. So they say. But again, the internet lies. Would you be interested in representing the United States in pro wrestling in the Olympics if it ever came to be?
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in it. That's crazy. This is my first time hearing about that. That's wild.
If you go on the internet, it's a legitimate thing. Well, it's a legitimate thing on the internet, so we have to take it with a grain of salt.
Right. Of course I would be down to represent the USA. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I could see you going at with Josh Alexander representing Canada. Yeah, that'd be a little would be a little dangerous. Yeah. That would be a good match. But see, you got to wonder, how would they score that? Like, how would they score it? Would they score it on a full press?
They're saying it's like U.S. versus U.S.
Like, make it like a full-out Olympic sport. Yeah. Like, they're going to have... How would you score something like that? Would you do it on the trifecta? So, from promo skills, like maybe cut a promo before the match, go out and have the match, and then talk about stylization?
Man. Because, I always thought there should be like a legitimate code of points of pro wrestling the same way that there is in gymnastics. Like I thought about that for a while, that like there would be a way to just automatically create matches because you have all these moves that mean these things, all these moves that mean these things, and you could follow this template, you could follow this template, you could follow this template.
You see, you're thinking what I'm thinking.
Right? Like, it does make sense to an extent, but then does the crowd care? How is that a factor of the audience? What if the audience? What if the pro wrestling Olympic show is happening in Los Angeles and nobody shows out for the French versus French match, and just the crowd's just not into it?
Right.
I don't know.
See, this is the line that these are the factors of that the Olympic Committee. Listen, Olympic Committee, we figured out a lot for you. You got to figure out the rest on your own, guys. That's it. My final question before I let you go prepare for your match: when you look at, you're only 24, so again, plenty of time, but you're getting older. Your moveset is very high risk, very agile, very fast paced. Mm-hmm. As you get older, are you finding yourself, right now, again, you're still 24. Are you finding yourself, though, having to tweak certain things that maybe you were able to do once when you were a little bit younger, but now as you're getting older, you're starting to see that, my body's not moving this way. It is changing. Your body's always evolved. Yeah. So are you evolving your moveset to go with your ever-evolving physique?
I definitely am, but everything like kind of, because where was I gonna go with this? I'm Jack Cartwheel. You can do a cartwheel when you're 50. I think that was like one of the biggest things, because I came into wrestling as like a very high flyer, and every single vet would tell me, "Oh, can you do XYZ when you're 50? Can you do this when you're 50? Can you do this when you're 50?" I'm like, I can kind of cartwheel. I think when I'm 50, like there's 40-year-olds who are out here cartwheeling. So it's just making those mean a lot more, and then choosing and making sure that they're in the right places so they mean a lot more. And it doesn't have to be flippy doohickey, cartwheel, flippy doohickey. It could be punch, cartwheel, flippy doohickey. You know what I mean?
I like that.
That's
yeah. I like that. That's quite the punch, flippy doohickey, punch.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right.
Now this is probably going to air. This episode will most likely air. We're both sitting here in t-shirts, sweating our balls off but this is probably going to air sometime in October, November.
Dope.
I got quite a bit of content in the can right now. But if it's airing in October, spooky season, I'm a big horror movie guy. I love horror movies.
Yeah.
I love me something scary.
Right.
Where do you fall on a horror? Are you a horror movie guy?
Very pro.
Okay, good. So you're very pro.
Yeah.
So then there's the genres of horror. You've got your very fucking grotesque, like the Hostels, if you will, like the very out there type stuff. Then you got your slashers, your classic stuff, like your Michaels, your Freddys, your Jason. Then you've got the ghost stories, and then you've got this new age horror that's happening, like a Long Legs. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
I haven't
It's
yet.
good.
I want to.
But you've also got the psychological stuff, the M. Night Shyamalan, if you will, and the traps and Sixth Sense and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where does Jack Cartwheel fall on the spectrum of horror? What's your wheelhouse for horror, Jack? Are you a slasher guy, or what's up? What do you got?
I would say I'm more of a psychological thriller guy, maybe. Like my favorite ones have been Shutter Island is like my favorite horror movie. Sixth Sense, I was just punching myself at the end. How did I not know?
How did we not know?
How did we not know?
None of it. Listen,
it's there the whole time.
Jack, none of us knew. None of us knew.
know?
But see, the Sixth
'Cause
Sense.
that one's new to me. That was like a couple months ago that I saw.
Right, but the Sixth Sense, see, it's new to you for the first timer, but now you can't watch it again.
Right.
Because when you watch it again, you already know, oh, that fucking guy's dead. He's fucking, spoiler alert, guys, Bruce Willis is dead. I saved you 2 hours. Bruce Willis is dead the entire time. The whole time, guys.
Yeah.
But, so I get what you're saying. You like the second, so then you would actually dig Long Legs. I highly recommend Long Legs.
Yeah.
Watch it, when you're vegging out, you got a long plane ride or a tron. That's the movie you want to put on.
Okay,
It's
sweet.
good.
Yeah, I wanna check it
It's different. It's new age and it's good. Think Barbarian. Think like those type of horror movies.
Barbarian was crazy. I didn't watch Barbarian, but I watched like a thing explaining Barbarian.
Yeah, dude, when I watch Barbarian, okay, the one thing I will recommend when you watch Long Legs, maybe don't eat.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just
Plant. That's a
yeah,
good
just
plant.
a lot of fluids, water for sure, but don't eat. Don't eat.
Okay.
No, don't eat. If you're gonna eat like salty stuff. Don't eat anything, especially not meat. Stay away from it. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on that. All right, Jack Cartwheel, as always, this has been an absolute blast.
Thank
I
you,
enjoy
man.
talking with you all the
Thank you.
time.
I had a great time.
This is Straight Talk Wrestling. This is Jack Cartwheel. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Peace.
Yo. We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shorefine. Winter ready on the full ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.